Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness, week 8 of the challenge Total Madness. I'm your host today, Chantele Francis, here with my lovely co-host, Miss Fanta. Say hello, Fanta.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi. And we also have Michelle here today. Say hi, Michelle.
Hello. Happy to be back.
So, last week I started off being like, I was so fulfilled by this episode. And Michelle kind of had a rebuttal. It was, she's like, it wasn't the right format. And I'm like, true, but like, I felt great at the end of this episode. But this week, I just watched it right now, and I just finished it, and I was just like,
I still had a good feeling at the end of it, regardless of, we'll talk through everything, but I really left with a feeling of this is what the challenge is about.
Yeah.
As unfair as it can be, this is what the challenge is.
Yeah. This episode blew me away. I was like, this is where we are, people. This is where we want to be.
Okay. It was great in that it had everything.
Yes.
But the feeling that I was left with at the end, I preferred how I felt last week.
I feel that. For sure. It was an upset, but it was an epic time.
It was pretty epic. So right in the beginning, like in the intro, we just kind of start off with like Wes calling out Jordan and just being like, okay, like Jordan doesn't have Tori anymore, and it's like it's time to go for Jordan. And how did you feel about it, just like already gutting for him, like right in the beginning?
Yeah, I think that from the start, you kind of know, as it's a guy's week, he just lost Tori. Jordan never gives up, but you know that he's going to be gunning for the Red Skull. So, like, it kind of sets it up being like, regardless of what happens, Jordan is probably going in. Is he going to go against someone he can beat or not? What's the challenge going to be? That will determine how he does. But, like, it kind of was a setup either, like, he's going to throw himself in or he's going to get thrown in.
Like, I just don't understand, though, why don't they just want to get their skull in and then do all their politicking? And,
it's because, honestly, I think it's because they want to make sure, that they can stay at least a certain number of weeks, because you probably get paid, how long you're there for someone like Bear. But then also for people who want to win, I think they assume that they're going to win tribunals enough that they'll have opportunity. Like, I don't think they're being smart enough. Like, I think they're just being like, oh, well, I can win the tribunal next guy's time and I'll just throw myself in. Like, it'll be fine. And, like, they want to wait till they have, like, the situation they want, which at this point I'm like, I don't know what that situation's going to be.
I feel like they really should have all just gone in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like, be like, okay, let me take out my Jay. Okay, let me take out my, in a more humane way than Rogan did. And, like, you know what I mean? Just pick their battles that way instead of, like, putting in Asaf. And, like, who got their skull from Asaf?
Jay.
Jay. But, like, instead of doing that, like, why didn't Bananas go in at that point and just, like, get his red skull from Asaf?
It's Bananas. He's not going to throw himself in that early. Like, he's not going to take the risk, because elimination, no matter what it is always a risk. And Bananas is calculated. He's not going to take that risk until it's late enough that he's still, like, relevant enough.
He might have a deal as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that it's, I agree with Michelle. I've been saying this every single week. Like, I think it's crazy for everybody to be waiting for as long as they have been, all the people that have just kind of been hiding in the shadows. And this season, out of a lot of season, has really been the season of upsets. You go into every season and you go, yeah, okay, CG's going to be there, this person's going to make it all the way to the end. And they've been knocked out so quickly. So it's difficult. It's kind of a double-edged sword, because you're seeing everyone kind of going, okay, we're hedging our bets, but for what? You could get knocked out by somebody much later who's half your size.
Yeah. Well, I totally get that, but I feel like I would just want to, like, go in, take off the Band-Aid, and then do all my politicking and choose my team that I want, or the people that I don't want to be running with me, to get out, and then just do it early when you have more options, And
yeah, but it's scary to do that. It's a scary.
I know, but they know better. I your side completely. Like, you're like, it makes total sense. If they're saying like, okay, I guarantee that I'm going to be here for 5 weeks, and then like I'll go in. That's probably the deal that they have with producers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to put myself in there for at least 5 weeks, So make sure that the Red Skulls at least go until then. And then, you know what I mean? I'm sure that they're doing some planning with them because like why they should have just thrown themselves in because there's a few winnable ones that they could have done for sure.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
I mean, I guess CT also thought that, but
yeah,
they underestimated Jay though in that, and he did anyways. So I thought it was really cute when the Holy Trinity was all jumping up and down, and like they're so excited for Jenna putting her name on the wall, and like I like as much as they're kind of, I don't want to say the dumb word, but kind of dumb a little bit, you know, kind of boy crazy and kind of just like ditzy a little bit. And I really like all of them, pretty much. And so it's kind of nice seeing them like playing the game again and like their head, like just excited about the game and not about their boy problems or making out with, getting in a fight with Anissa or, you know, getting in a fight with Zach or getting in a fight with the house and Bear. And you know what I mean? Like all the extraneous drama. Like I like that they were just like,
exactly.
yes.
Yeah, I think that like it was really a shock to especially Kayla and Nani, like that Jenna did come back against Tori and like did it and had that boldness and that confidence, and like the fact that she actually made it through. Like this moment's a great moment for them to share. Do I think all three of them are going to get Red Skulls before this? Like highly unlikely. However, I stand for a Jenna moment, you know? And they could. I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying like Kayla doesn't have a great track record in eliminations. Nani is a mixed bag. It depends on what the competition is. If it's not like, it depends. She's not the smallest girl. You know, there's a lot of people I think she could beat. She could even beat Anissa depending if it was like, depending on what it was. But like Nani's terrible with puzzles. So is Kayla. Like, I just don't see the likelihood of both of them also getting through.
Yeah.
Well, I think, sorry, go ahead.
I just also feel like they're never really mentally dialed in that often.
Mm-hmm.
And that just makes such a huge difference. Like the second that you see somebody like right before they're about to get into elimination and they just kind of have that glazed look, you're like, oh yeah, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
You're not like dialed in and ready to go.
Yeah, and I also loved in that moment when they went and twerked up against the window for Anissa.
Yeah. Anissa's being really chill about everything. Like, you know, she forgave everything. She's like, I know Nani gets drunk, gets like this, like, let it go. Cause she's like, whatever, this is not worth it. And they're still including her. And, you know, I appreciated that. I think that like Anissa's a great, like, pillar of maturity in the house. So as much as some haters are being like, why is she here? I'm like, I like that she's there.
I think that a lot of the people who are saying that they are not happy with Anissa being in a challenge house are also the young ones.
They don't know who she is.
Don't know who she is and the work that she's put in to be here.
Exactly.
Okay, give her respect, damn it.
Paid her dues. For sure. She's entitled to the phone call for sure.
Yes.
I actually listened to a few different podcasts. I think it was all this week. And did I send you guys Marie on the podcast with those people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I thought that was really interesting because I'm not are either you Marie fans? I'm not a Marie fan, really.
No, but I'm not like a Marie hater, I would say.
I mean, I find her obnoxious. I don't usually like her storylines. Like I don't really want to know what's going on in her life. And then she was on X on the Beach with Devin. Which I was like,
they hooked up. They didn't date.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it was just really bad because like he made her look really bad and she just looked really desperate and pathetic. But then she was getting mad about everything. Anyways, it wasn't a good look in my opinion. And so she has all this attitude, like she's so cool and amazing and awesome, and then she's so badly shitting on Anissa and saying that Anissa was doing it was all calculated. So what do you think about Marie saying that Anissa was calculated in all that and that she is corny, as Marie would say?
I think Marie is, I personally put Marie in the same category as Jemmye in terms of like when they are on a challenge, they're providing comedic relief, they're kind of doing some funny shit, they're a little bit of a mess, you know, and they're never going to win. They're kind of like an easy for someone else. But I feel a lot more for Jemmye just because I feel like I know her a lot more. Like I've seen her from her real world days and I feel for Jemmye. Whereas like Marie is just a little, I don't know, man. she's in that whole crew, like Nani and Kayla and them, because she lives in Florida with them.
Nani.
Yeah.
Totally. And then I was listening to another podcast with Anissa, and they brought up the interview about Marie, and Anissa was actually shocked. She's like, that's just so crazy. She's like, but whatever, like that's kind of like Marie. But she said that she's had Marie come stay with her at her place when she like broke her ankle, and like, you know, Marie was like hanging out and like playing on her scooter and helping her out like while she's healing and stuff like that. So like they do have to a certain extent a relationship enough for them to like spend time on purpose in another state type thing.
Yeah, but I think that Anissa, you know, I don't think that they're really like I think Marie is just trying to stir up shit for the sake of it. Like, I think she just, when she starts talking, she just kind of runs her mouth because it gives her more like airtime in the ether of like Instagram and stuff. And maybe she'll get asked back to be on a show, you know, like I don't think it's like real for her. I think she's just saying shit.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because the fact that Anissa just didn't really give that any credence just kind of gives you all the information that you need to know. Like, it's okay, yeah, whatever. Because I think it's interesting to think that there still would be so much drama between all of these people who have known each other for so long. Like, there's got to be something that gets kicked up to...
is that I don't think that they end up growing up. It's kind of like they haven't their relationship hasn't grown up and matured because they keep on coming back to summer camp. And so like they haven't all moved on in their lives together because they keep on coming back to high school. You know what I mean? Like it's like they haven't grown up. Maybe in their own lives, you know, they've grown up, they've gone to university, they've started businesses, whatever. But like whenever they come back to the challenge, or it has anything to do with the challenge, they just revert back to like their 15-year-old version of themselves or their first season version of themselves, like maybe slightly elevated, but like probably not, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I just don't like Marie, unfortunately. Sorry, any Marie lovers. I love her accent. It's pretty good, but that's
like I'm not gonna write home about Marie. Like I'm not gonna spend enough energy like on her. Like feel like she's just kind of, she's not really relevant anymore.
I guess
she's relevant by association, and
Sure.
she's just trying to like keep shit going for herself. And like people can say what they want about Anissa being like tired and never gonna win and all that shit, and like that may be the case, but at least Anissa doesn't like really feed into the drama. Like she'll speak her piece and then she's like, okay, whatever. Like, and that's what I like about her. I'm like, we can all learn something from that. Like, people are gonna say shit about you no matter what. Like, you just gotta move on with your life.
Yeah, that's definitely showing a sense of maturity a little bit more than some of the other people, for sure. I was so happy, though. One of the sound bites was that Jenna was saying that, like, Zach, you know, like, if I come home with $1 million, he'll forgive me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow.
I hated that so much.
I know.
Like, I pictured it in my head, too. I pictured, like, Jenna coming home to Detroit with $1 million and Zach just being like, oh, okay, yeah, we're good now.
Or him being like, I'm still mad at you for now. Like, him still, like, holding a bit of a grudge for a bit and then, like, letting it go.
I hated that. That was my biggest...
what I liked about it, I see what you hate about it for sure, and I can agree with that also, but I like that she wasn't going to go home to him now because he said, come home now. Like, I like the fact that, like, you know,
me too.
I'm going to win money, and then you can decide whether you want to be mad at me or not. Like, if we're going to work things out, like, I'd rather work things out while I have $1 million. And so I like that she wasn't allowing him to, like, puppeteer her in that moment anymore. Like, she was taking a little bit more ownership of her game, and she'll deal with her home situation on her terms and on her time.
Especially since he wasn't going to do anything for her anyway right now.
Exactly. I love the fact that she decided to stay. I hate the fact that she's going to go back to him.
Yeah. It's interesting, too. I was listening yesterday to a podcast that Laurel was on. It was like ESPN something. I don't know. I saw it on her story, and I listened to it, and they asked her about the Jenna Zach thing and about how he was portrayed in that video call. And she was like, you know, playing with Zach, she said that, like, that is tantrum Zach. Like, they call it, like, tantrum Zach. So Zach will get into a mode, Similarly to when she had to drag him on Free Agents, which she mentions, she's like, he gets into this mode where it's like he's just like a tantrumed child, and like it doesn't matter what you say, and this is the way he was. And then like the other side of him can actually be good and nice and like logical. And she's like, but it's definitely what you saw was like that side of him, and that's definitely a side of him. And she's like, I don't like that side of him. It's not a good look. But it's not like the only part of him, but like it doesn't discount like how awful he is. But like it was just interesting to be like, yeah, everyone knows like this is what he gets into sometimes.
I guess I just wouldn't want that to be my date, like my life, like partner. I understand that they're in love, and so love blinds things, but like to have, it would just be so draining to always have to be going through those things. It's not like it's the first time and the only time. It's like, you know that they're going to have some sort of other epic fight like this. And so, I mean, I wish them well and the best. I hope she won the money, because people are a lot happier with money, and maybe they sign a prenup, and you know, like that would be.
I really, really hope that she gets some sort of money. Like, I'm riding for her story right now to like, it would be nice to see someone like her who no one ever expects to win to like really step it up, especially now she's got a skull. So we'll see what happens.
Well, and I mean, I know Jenny's still in there. So Jenny and Jenna and Dee. I mean, I think that she has a chance over Dee just because she has just a little bit more experience, and Dee. But I think Jenny, I don't think anybody's going to be able to take out Jenny.
Well, you never know, because Jenny's never run a final before. Right?
And like, I was also...
and like, what if Jenny can't eat bull testicles? We don't know this.
We don't really know her endurance either. Like, again, listening to Laurel talk about how like the way you look and muscles and strength, she's like, that's nothing. That's not everything. She's like, I don't work out that way. She's like, I don't have that CrossFit body. She's like, but I've just been an athlete my whole life. And so the people who are more athletic for just like in their life might do better than someone like Jenny. Plus, I think based on the competition we saw with Nany before, how they were maybe going to try to throw in Jenny, I think there's a high chance when it gets down to it, the girls might try to put Jenny versus Dee or someone else strong who already has one. Like, let's get one of them out. Like, that'd be amazing for us. Like, you know? So I think that she's not in clear water 100%. For now, maybe, but like when it's down to just a couple of them, like they're not going to give up a chance. They're going to try to take her out.
Yeah.
I hope so. I mean, so go ahead.
I kind of have a feeling that if Jenny does make it to the final, there might be certain components of it that might trip her up.
I agree. She'll be strong, but I don't think she's going to be great at everything.
She's an amazing competitor, but again, like this will be like her first final, and like Jenna just does this weird thing, like she just goes into like Barbie beast mode, but she just goes into this mode where like she can just do shit.
Yeah.
It's like, so I would put Jenna above Dee and Jenny for final.
She's also taller than Dee by a lot.
But she's not taller than Jenny.
They're probably more similar.
9-ish, 5'10".
Yeah, I feel like she might be a slightly taller, but Jenny's way bulkier, so she like seems a bit, I don't know.
So the next segment is basically a montage of everybody just complaining about Jordan, and Jordan saying that like now that Tori's gone, that you know he doesn't have to be nice anymore, and that he wants to go in and get his red skull. And so I thought it was really interesting that like, you know, is it just because he wants to go in and get it and he doesn't want to be there without Tori, like he said, or do you think he doesn't want to like be thrown in there and like feel like he's at their mercy, you know?
I don't think he cares. I think if it's Jordan, I think he's fine to get thrown in. He wants to already be in the mindset that I'm going in. I think he already wanted to go in before this anyway. He just wanted to get her skull first. And so now he's more intense about going in. But I think he's totally fine to be thrown in or go in. Like, I really don't think that he is as, like, doesn't care as much about that. But, I don't know.
Do you have any thoughts, Fanta?
Yeah, I would agree. Like, Jordan is just not really, like, scared of anything. I just thought it was kind of funny that everyone was like, yeah, we're all going to go after him now and all this stuff. And I was like, he doesn't care. Like, he knows that. And, like, he's just going to do Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's great, though, for the house because, like, they want him gone and he wants to go in. So it's like at least they could just do that. And like, there's not that many repercussions. If he came back, like, well, you said you wanted to go in. So no harm, no foul. So then we start seeing the scenes that we've seen in all the commercials. Kayla straddling Bear, you know, and I was like, I don't want anybody's relationships to break up, but I just wish it was organic and they were both single and this is what's happening. Then I'd be able to stand it. You know what I mean? But like, because it's not, it just kind of feels like I'm just like, oh, I don't want to watch this.
It's like her boyfriend doesn't even know yet, probably.
Oh my God.
And like she's just acting like it's a normal thing now, and that like thank God he's here. Like I don't know what I'd do without him. Like like textbook dependent girl who needs a guy like all the time. Like she always needs a boyfriend. She always needs somebody to be there like with her.
I also like, I totally agree with that. It's weird because it's like there was barely any transition. It was just her rejecting him and then all of a sudden they are like coupled up. And I like had this thought like, I just want to like bottle up the lack of caring that people have when they have like serious partners and they go on the challenge and they literally just start a new relationship with a new person like right there. Like what, I'm just like, I don't understand what that is. And like, what is like the first day back when you get home to your partner after you've like started a new relationship? Are you just like, so...
There was one text message exchange, something, I'm terribly going to paraphrase this, but where Kayla basically yells at her boyfriend, like he commented or something and be like, oh, like it's our relationship, like I don't, you know, like what happens between us, blah blah. Then she totally like rips his head off and saying something really negative to him, and the boyfriend was like, are you talking to me? Like it was like the boyfriend was shocked at the reaction that Kayla was giving her boyfriend for like standing up for whatever was going on. Like I'm gonna find it for next week or for next week. I just was like, I think she felt guilty and she doesn't really know how to handle it. But then furthermore, so I was listening to another podcast with Rogan on it this week. Ooh, and okay. I'm just going to put down my paper right now because I have to say this very smoothly. I didn't dislike Rogan as much as I thought I would.
Right.
Actually likable. And I think maybe he had like some PR coach or something, because like when he was talking about the situation with Jay, he was like, well, me and Jay, we were talking beforehand, and like I was like, we just exchanged the fact that like I was going to go hard on him, I was going to go for it, and he's like, yes, bring it. Like he's like, I'm like a rugby guy. Like they talked about oh my God, I can't talk today. The elimination and like going in and what was going to happen. And so they're good now. And he's like, he felt bad that like he was going full rugby and Jay wasn't going full rugby. And he said like he felt terrible about that. Actually, he didn't realize how badly he hurt him and just how he was kind of, you know, feeling remorse. I believed him in that moment, and I liked him in the interview, and I liked how he talked about Dee being like, we aren't together and we never were. We were working together in the house and she kept on wanting it to be more, but it wasn't. And I kept on reiterating it with her. But at one point I had to just kind of not be saying that all the time because like it was just too much of a struggle. So it's kind of like he allowed her to bully him into like pretending that they're kind of in a relationship when like he just doesn't really want anything to do with her.
Nice.
And the last thing was that apparently Kayla went to visit Bear right after the challenge was over and stayed with Bear for, I don't know, we'll say a couple weeks, I'm not sure. Bear apparently got bored with Kayla.
Shocking.
Kicked her out or like sent her home saying like enough is enough. And now Kayla's dating another Brit.
Yeah, Sam Bird.
Sam Bird, yeah.
I didn't know she went to visit Bear after.
I had a feeling like, I was like, I bet you like, I was like, obviously I know, because I'm looking at her Instagram, like they're not together after this, but I was like, I knew he like got bored of her.
Of course. It was only the challenge at the challenge.
Oh my God.
It's just the way he is. Like,
it's the bunker.
Ugh.
All I wrote next was gross Nelson. Ugh.
Oh God, Nelson.
because he was having this whole conversation, his confessional, talking like kind of saying like, well, sometimes my mouth gets me in trouble. It's like, well, your mouth gets you in trouble because you're an asshole. Like, you're not kind to women. You actually have zero brain like power. What's like, I don't know if he ever went to school, if he's ever had a genuine, like, he's just so dumb to me. He's really dumb.
He's so dumb.
He's really dumb. Every time he talks, I always have to go, I don't think that's a word. I don't think that's a word. And it's really like weird because I'm like, dude, like, this is your only language that you speak. I'm pretty sure, like, just try to get it right.
Close.
Yeah,
And it's not even like he speaks Ebonics or something, like, you know, like he speaks whatever.
Yeah, it's
like
not
the fact that he doesn't have any sort of, you know,
like, it's like a half vocabulary. Like, it's just like he knows like half of every word and then just makes up the rest.
Maybe he plays a lot of like balderdash or like or fibbage on Jackpot.
Oh God,
I would love that reality.
To have like watch Nelson play.
Yeah, to like have Nelson be like a huge like balderdash or like fibbage player. Like, I would love that idea.
Him and
like
Jenna.
so good at those two. I'd be like, what?
A competition. That actually would be amazing. We should pitch this to MTV because like they always do those little game clips. Like maybe we can pitch them like, hey, you need to have like a word off with like Jenna and Nelson.
yeah. I'm just sick of seeing Nelson on my screen. I honestly like take him off, go away. Like, I actually dislike him more than Rogan. Like, I'm just like, you're so insulting. Like, it's an extreme personal amount. And, ugh.
Bleh. Bleh.
Yeah.
The next thing that happens is the whole, the actual challenge. We got a challenge today. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So it's decontamination. And what did you think about this? I thought it was a pretty standard challenge. But like Josh I thought was being a little bit extra. Like, it's like,
I have a big thought about this.
Okay, go for it.
About this challenge. It was, case in point, Fanta, what you've been talking about like production and like just like the favorite, like the fact that Bananas wasn't disqualified for looking on the side and seeing the colors. I mean, I think that he probably won and they just gave it to Wes because they were like, well, Wes did it properly, because you can't give Bananas the win after doing that. Like, I was going to be so mad if he won. Like, that's so unfair.
That's what I was thinking as well, that Wes must have won only for sure because of the fact that Bananas cheated.
And my favorite thing in terms of like production though is like, if that is the case, it's so funny because they would never be like, hey, Bananas, and like give him a scolding. Like, they're just like whatever.
Well, nobody called him out on it. If they called him out, then maybe they would have dealt with something. But the only other thing is everybody was helping each other out. So was that like considered cheating as well?
No, that's not cheating.
I mean,
they do that all the time. Anytime there's one where it's like, throw it into this person's thing. It's like people always team up to try to get stuff. And it didn't work for any of them. So
did he go through at least once? Did he go in once?
Who?
Bananas?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
So
He went in the first time. Yeah, he did.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
And he came back and he noticed that. I think then I give him almost a pass. Because he executed going out once, he looked at the blinking lights, and he came back and he saw the puzzle, then he realized, oh, I can still check my answers without going back in there. But because he went in once, I feel that it kind of starts falling into the realm of not cheating.
But the thing is, there was like 20 different things. Like he obviously only memorized the first couple. Like, he's not like he had it down and was checking. He stood there for the whole competition. Like, they all commented on that. Yeah, he went in once. Like, you know, regardless, they didn't stop him. So
done it as well. What would you say about that?
If what? Sorry?
Other people had like picked up on what he did.
Same thing. Just as wrong. Just as wrong.
I'm kind of devil's advocating. Yeah. But what about when people were looking how people stacked theirs? And
very different. That's within the game. The looking at the side is outside of the realm of the game, in my opinion. Like, looking at other people's things, it's in front of you. Like you can try, but you're a step behind that person. Do you know what I mean? And like Nelson's strategy of waiting in there, coming out later, and then like following people and only memorizing the end, I think that's a smart strategy because you saw the other groups go. I just think that what Bananas did is he skirted completely around the frame and the rules of the game. Mind you, technically, yeah, you're right. He didn't do anything wrong, which is why they couldn't stop him and why he was still eligible to win.
Why was it available for them to be able to see?
It wasn't supposed to be. Like, it was a mistake, obviously.
But yeah, I guess they established it. But the thing that I guess almost bothers me just as much is the fact, this is what I've been saying all the time, Bananas didn't go first. He had a whole round to be able to, like, see. And, like, Bananas is smart, obviously, so he can, like, really assess things quickly. But he gets that edge because he very rarely, if ever, I don't think he's gone first this entire game.
Not this season.
Not this
No, he did. He had to go first with Jay, and Jay fucked up the car thing. Remember?
Did they go first?
They went first because Jay was the first person who didn't notice the number on the back of the car.
Okay, okay. Well, I stand corrected. But I think all of that stuff, like, I mean, whatever. Like, I guess it's not like breaking the rules. I just think it's like super gray area, and it like just makes me roll my eyes when 3 people are like, okay, let's all work together. But then it's really funny that Wes won. So it's kind of like,
yeah,
whatever. I'm just kind of like, nah, okay.
Well, it's kind of like if you're going to, because like I don't think that working together, I'd be like, I probably wouldn't have wanted to do that because I wouldn't trust them to be fast enough to meet. So I probably wouldn't do that. Maybe, I don't know if I would do Johnny's thing, but if I saw it, I don't think I would ignore it. I'd be like, oh no, I could tell that the answer.
Exactly. No, I would have looked too, but I wouldn't have admitted it.
Yeah, you would make it seem like you would go back in.
I would still go back in and pretend and then run back quick and kind of look out of the corner of my eye. Like, don't admit it.
Instead of
like, be sneaky. If you're going to be sneaky, be sneaky.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because it was so obvious and they didn't clearly state that they couldn't do that, he didn't necessarily know that he was going against the rules. Because he did go in once. I think him going in once salvaged him cheating.
And I think he knew he wasn't following the rules.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, I think he knew, and he's like, well, I'm going to try this because it's there, and, like, they didn't tell me I couldn't. But I think, you know, he's not an idiot. He knows that that's not what he's supposed to do.
Do you think that Nelson knew that when he went in there that he wasn't supposed to inhale as much of the foam as possible, or was that part of strategy?
It's part of his strategy.
Even to Nelson, I just feel like every single time he goes in and he does something, he doesn't have this thing, like he doesn't have like a fight or flight. He just like has a collapse. Like when he went in the water, he just like was just like, oh God, I'm so cold, and like wasn't like moving. And then when he goes in the foam, he was like literally just inhaling all of it.
I would like, breathe in and breathe out as you run through it, you know?
I don't.
Well, but can he swim?
Not super well, but he can swim.
But like, can he like blow out water when his head's down? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because that would be a skill that to go through something like that would be able to not have to plug your nose, you know what I mean, to hold your breath. True. And exhale through your nose and or mouth while you're doing something.
I just don't think Nelson has these functions. I think you're suggesting too much for this man.
I agree.
I did think it was hilarious though when they had like the missing Nelson milk carton. I thought that was
my God.
I was actually laughing.
It's a good moment.
So Dee's one of, like, she was pretty fast with hers, and I was like, totally when she got it, I was like, womp womp. So it was first Wes, he won his thing, and Dee was the girl for that one. Or was there another girl?
It was
Maddie. Yeah, and then Dee won her round. Who was the boy?
Was
it Fessy?
Yeah,
it was Fessy because he almost won it.
Right, and then
then Bananas and Big T.
Right. Oh, Big T. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Big T. So we kind of just already talked about the fact that like it ended up being between Big T and Maddie, so it was kind of like big and small against each other for fastest time, and Maddie takes it. So I wrote down at the beginning, I was like, oh, Maddie gets a confessional and she wins. So I guess it was in line with like, oh, we need to give her some screen time because she's gonna actually like be in the show
for once. Yeah.
And then it came down to Bananas and Wes, and we don't know who actually won that or who won it fair and square, but definitely Wes did it properly. So he did deserve to win it if he was faster than everybody else that did it any other way. So
yeah.
How do you feel about them choosing Bananas as their third person in the tribunal?
I think it was a good choice for them.
Did you think he was going to do that? They're going to do that?
Yeah, I saw that.
I wasn't 100% sure, I'll be honest, but I knew that like he was going to pick someone that would favor him in Bananas, and I think them saying it was double elimination, I think it was sort of like, okay, well, if I bring Bananas in, we could both decide who's going to go in to get the Red Skull if we choose to. Meanwhile, Bananas didn't even want to go in. I'm sure Wes knew that. So, I mean, once he said it, it made sense. But at first, I was like, maybe they'll pick someone random.
Who do you think that they would have picked then? Like, I was thinking, I'm like, is he really going to pick Bananas? Like,
you can't pick Swaggy because they don't want people to know about that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll cut to the end of the episode too, but I don't know who else you would pick. You know, it does make sense because at this point, like, who else is he really strongly aligned with?
There's nobody else that they
besides D.
Yeah, but even still, like, they're like Wes and D's alliance isn't like,
it's sort of a secretive sideline thing,
like, in your face.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that people still are like shocked by this? Like, I'm just.
Yeah.
Even Anissa, maybe they're being prompted by the producers or in the confessionals, because like Anissa's like, I don't know, there's something sneaky going on between them. Like, they're supposed to be rivals, and I'm just like,
we all know by now
that they're not against each other, at least
for now,
because they would usually by the first 17 minutes of every season that they're both in, they're like at each other's throats. So absolutely. I think, like, after the first few days, people were like, wait a sec. These guys aren't killing each other. Bananas has only called Wes a ginger twice today.
Seriously, it's shocking. But I think that also I like, obviously, that they've done this just because it's changed the narrative. It's made other people have to play a little bit differently. Instead of like just joining one band camp and against the other, like now they actually have to like, oh, we have to find a new strategy, because if they're working together, we can't just choose one side or the other. Like, people just like quiver.
Yeah, I like that.
So Jordan's actually scared of this duo. Like, he's kind of come to noticing that that they're working together now, calling them the old OGs. They're not that old. Like, I'm older than both of them. So
yeah, but they're on the older end, and like Jordan is not an OG. He's in the middle where he's only 30. And he's done a lot, but not as nearly as many as them. And I thought it was a nice moment of respect, like, from both sides. Like, Bananas being like, Jordan is my big problem if I want to win, because he's so good at everything. Similarly to Jordan being like, those people are good. Like, I like that mutual respect, whereas Wes is just like, I hate Jordan. He's just like such an asshole all the time. I'm like, Wes, you're also an asshole. Like, I love you. Like, just be fine with him. You just hate him because he's as angry as you, and he's as, like, stubborn as you are, like, just, so.
And you usually point out the faults in the other person that actually lay within you. So, like, whenever I'm complaining about D, yes. I'm just always like, fuck, is that something that I do that I hate?
I know, yeah.
I honestly think that I'm still just such a firm believer that Wes he's just so butthurt that him and Jordan can't be friends.
Yeah.
I really, truly believe that. I think he's just like, and maybe one day they'll get along and form this kind of alliance like him and Bananas have, but.
Well, maybe they'll do another Rivals season or something where they get to work together. I mean, I love those seasons because I love relationships and making people work together. So I don't really like the exes one usually. I don't like that drama, but like I like people drama. like in when they have to work together, because we've seen so many amazing friendships come out of these, like, we had to work together, now we love each other, we're best friends. Like,
yeah, like,
I'm like,
CT and Adam, that storyline was so beautiful.
oh, beautiful.
Ended tragically, but that was quite nice.
Is that
Yes.
the French one, or is that another season?
It's the one where they lost against Johnny and Tyler, the elimination before the end because Adam threw the ball on the wrong side. Very emotional. I cried for sure.
Yeah.
How do you remember this so well? Have you watched it recently?
No, it was just like a very important season for me because I was just like finally CT was becoming a better person again, and like I had rooted for them since like his love with Diem in the duel. Like it's etched in my memory, honestly.
I mean, I'd have to watch it over again. Then I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember. I just have watched too many reality shows since then to like pinpoint that exact thing. But I definitely remember that pairing, that duo, and like I cry over everything. So I'm sure I cried. My brother, I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but he's doing like a watch of all of the challenge, and because
how does he find the links?
He can find, he's a computer guy, like he can find stuff. But like my mom was asking if he watched this, and he's like, no, like I'm not up to date yet. I'm like, you're gonna wait till you're up to date to watch my stupid podcasts? Like, so yeah, he has not watched it yet. But my mom watches it and she enjoys it. And she's like, I don't watch the challenge, but I did watch Real World and Road Rules, and so I do know some of the characters that you're talking about.
Aw, cute.
Hi, Mama.
Well, Mom always watches or listens to these stuff, and she watches reality TV, so she does know most of the references. But the challenge she didn't get to get into because I think I didn't live in Toronto then, so she only watched the staples then, like Big Brother and Survivor. And if I was home, she would have watched the challenge, but MTV should have to like find. I don't know if we had the channel, or I don't know what the deal is, but maybe I'll go on a rewatch with her and do a podcast like Mom and Me does a recap of the challenge.
I'd listen to somebody's mom's podcast.
Say again? You'd listen? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd listen.
I listened to one, Mad Rose and her mom. Her name is Maddie. She does like all these shows with her mom. They do a podcast together. It's cute.
Love.
Anyways, we're back onto Nelson's apology tour. I wrote down eye roll. I think it was like my first or second eye roll of the day.
There were many.
I find it, I liken it to you babysitting a young child and them just being a complete and total shithead to you all day. And then when the treats come out, they're like, well, I mean, I know I was really bad and everything, but I did apologize 5 minutes ago, so I really feel like I should get these M&Ms.
That's very real.
That's exactly what he is. So maybe he never got proper like understanding with like apology. You have to mean it. Like I don't think he got that part. I think the apology just meant he was able to get the treat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I'm like, oh, so you got the emotional intelligence of a 5-year-old. Great.
Yes, that's being like taunted with candy.
Yeah. Like, oh, that apology tour.
So annoying. So we're into the deliberation, I think, at this point. Yes. And Fessy's he's being pretty, pretty manly. I thought it was kind of hot, being
I was like, Fessy, you were never like, go off, queen. Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to come back out. So no, I'll be coming for you. I'm like, yeah, come for me, Fessy. Come for me.
Fessy, please come for Chantele.
Please, / if you're in a relationship, don't come for me. But and I don't know, they started going around. I didn't really name everybody that voted, but Anissa, I love that she just calls out like Nelson being like, yeah, you apologized to me, but you also made me look like an idiot and like made me like lose some face with the people in the house. So like, I'm still voting for you, even though like you apologized to me. And I was like, yes, like, don't make him think that works. Like, yes.
Exactly.
Wow.
So they're doing their deliberation basically in 2 rounds because it's a double elimination this week. They're having they're going to go for one vote, and then they're going to do another revote for the second person that's going in. So Jordan obviously votes for himself. No, it's like we knew that was going to happen. And then Nelson's promises get exposed. So now, how did Kyle start that? I didn't write that down.
I actually remember this moment. It was because Jordan said out loud, oh, Nelson, you know, I said I wasn't going to say you said you wouldn't say my name and I wouldn't say your name. Like, you made this promise to me. So because of that, I'm not going to say your name and I'm going to say my own. So he made that statement. Kyle's right next to him. And Kyle goes, oh, by the way, buddy, like, you also told me this. And he opened up the floor for everyone to be like, what the hell? You told me that today too. You told me that today too. And then, so it was kind of it was beautiful, I thought. It was like started by Jordan, then catched on by Kyle, then it kind of just spread throughout. It was such a big brother moment, just like calling out like someone trying to make deals with everybody.
Oh, so good. And like, well, Jordan was pissed at Nelson, like, and he had every right to be, because like, I mean, he was also probably trying to inflate the situation, but being like, you know, I don't know where I am on the line of that promise. And Nelson just being like, well, I didn't promise I'd be taking you to the final. It's like, you're not taking anybody to the final. You said that you wouldn't say their name. So like, relax, because eventually you would have to say someone's name. So who would you say first out of everybody's is basically what they want to know.
Exactly.
And the fact that he couldn't grasp that concept as to why what he said didn't make any sense. Like, is he playing dumb? Like, sometimes I'm just like, no, he can't be being serious right now. He cannot be being serious.
I think Nelson just says like whatever in the heat of the moment. Like, he just talks. He's a talker. And that's how I think he like gets girls, I guess. But like, he's just he just talks. And then he just is learning this thing called consequences. This
This is the come up in season, even though, you know, we know how it goes down.
This was Nelson's like reckoning episode.
But he still doesn't get it though. He doesn't understand, because we will learn later, it's coming up. Like, he's just not smart. So even Melissa though is like shouting at Nelson, like Melissa's in there, like everybody is
loved Melissa at the bar, or I don't know if you're at the bar yet, but just her going off on him was everything. I love Melissa so much.
Yeah, well, I didn't like her before, and I don't mind her this time.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing that when Fessy put his name on the board, and he like, and it was dead silent, and then he like turned over his shoulder and he was like, this is the part where you clap now. And then everyone starts
yes!
I thought it was so fierce. I'm like, way to be a rookie and be like, yeah, I warned you all, like, I'm gonna win everything. Like, I was just like, Fessy, this is how you make a name in the challenge. You have to be this way. Like, this is the way Jordan was when he hadn't wanted shit. Like, this is how he's going to become like a thing if he wants to be. Like, if he chooses to come back, he will be a force.
This is a ticket. These are like, I mean, if I were like that kind of athletic kind of guy, this would be like my dream. Like, I'd be like, oh my God, I get to hang out with like hot chicks, and I get to like lift cars and blow shit up for $1 million. Like, yeah, sign me up. Like, it's pretty good.
Yeah, if I was good at that shit, for sure.
Absolutely. Actually, we are kind of at the bar right now. So when Melissa starts calling him out is when like, so Nelson was like trying to chat her up and like apologizing for what he said or whatever. And like, she's not buying it. But this is where I was saying, like, I don't understand Nelson's mentality, because it is very clear. I know we're watching an edited television show, but it's very clear to me that Melissa and Kyle are friends.
Yeah.
Like why
best friends.
Think that he can call out Kyle to his best friend without and then be like, oh, like, Melissa, why you were just talking to me over here, you're just talking to me. It's like, yeah, you know, you're just complaining about my best friend to me over here, you know?
Yeah, like, an idiotic move, like, but he doesn't even think about that. Like, he doesn't think at all, and that's why I think he shouldn't be on reality television. Like, I understand we like to have idiots once in a while, but like, his level of unawareness, like, he really needs help. He should not be on the show anymore. Like, I don't care that he can like win things sometimes. Like, he's just he's toxic for himself, and being in this environment, like, they're amping him up, being like, yeah, get in fights. And it's like, he has no concept of what's actually going on. Like, this is just not a safe situation for him.
Well, do you think that, like, because there was kind of some pushing a little bit going on, like, do you think that because they were not in the challenge house that, you know, it wasn't an immediate disqualification? Because, like, I feel like they crossed the line that has been crossed before.
It really depends on the people and how the people who have been shoved, like how they feel about it. And it really just depends on the intensity of the situation. A shoving thing like that, like that's happened many times, like even with Anissa and Nany, like usually they won't, but it really just depends on how safe the person says they feel, I think.
Yeah, no, I don't feel like that crossed the line really. Like, I don't think it was like any worse than last season with like Paulie kissing, was it Theo or something? Which I find it's so weird that guys like do that thing where they just like do this and then they like get in each other's faces. That's so bizarre. I will never understand that. I've seen it happen a million times and I'm like, I don't get it. I'm missing something.
I always kind of think of whenever men are doing what should we call it, like MMA fighting stuff, that I think it is a slight homoerotica. That like there's something about like intertwined grunting that they're really, really into. That's like shows their masculinity fully. You know what I mean? Like there's something about it. I don't know. I haven't fully fledged that thesis out, but like I feel like there's something behind. Yeah, male.
Yeah.
Male, hetero. Not sure.
I love how Melissa got in the Dr. Phil dig in there.
Oh my God, it was iconic. Like, actually an iconic moment.
Go back to Dr. Phil.
Fucking waste of space. I'm like, Melissa just goes off and she doesn't care and she's always laughing through it. Like, she's just like, yeah, this. I'm like, yes, girl.
Like, that's a great burn. And like, nobody's going to get mad at her for that. Like, if he said that to obviously to somebody else, like, they'd be like, oh, but like her saying it in her pretty little face and her like cute little accent, like, she is like, nobody's going to get mad at her. Just going to be like,
yeah, and also like nobody has Nelson's back anymore. Like even Corey's like, oh, dude, like no one, like anytime like Nelson's just going off, like you could say even Johnny in the corner was just like,
yeah, it's a bad look, and he can't even see it, like, because he has to start watching back the season and have someone to say point through, like, okay, so this is how you come across to people, this is why, like, I think someone needs to explain what happens in real life or something. He needs something. So the next little segment was the poor Big Cheese segment. Like, she's adorable when she's drunk, and like her whole, like, you know, you're gonna be, was it clean tea or what they call her, a tidy savage. She's like, oh, you tidy savage, and like, you know, she's throwing things down, and you know, Nana is picking them back up. And I thought that all that was really cute, but then she kind of switched a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know how did she cut her foot though on the chair?
You know, it was when she was jumping down from the bunk bed. You saw it looked so painful. Ugh. When she was getting out of the bunk bed, she jumped down and her leg kind of went boom, boom, boom on the stair thing, and then her toe jammed into the chair that was at the bottom of the ladder.
In the chair, like the corner?
Just like the bottom somewhere. I mean, I don't know specifically, but I saw her kind of go boom, 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 boom down the bunk bed.
Yeah.
And I was like, that ain't gonna be good, queen.
Speaking from experience, alcohol and bunk beds, it did not mix.
No. Well, you fallen, Fanta? Do you have a story you need to share?
Yes. Hasn't everyone fallen off of a bunk bed drunk?
Yes.
Just me? Thank you, Michelle.
I have for sure, and bunk beds, I'm a bottom bunk queen, like for sure. Like I hate top bunks. I move around too much when I sleep. It just scares the shit out of me.
Really? I'm a top bunk person, and I don't think I've ever fallen out of a bunk bed.
Well, look at you, la-di-da.
Look at you.
Well, no, I mean, I don't think that I have. But how many bunk beds have I been in? I don't know. Not that many. But Yeah. But anyway, I was still laughing with Big T when she was on the ground and she's like, oh, like kept on sitting up, being like, thinking that she has to have her foot be amputated. Like, I was laughing, but like I knew she was okay, obviously.
Yeah.
And it was just so funny. Just her reaction was just so big. But she went to the hospital and she came back. She got 3 stitches, which is pretty hefty.
Mm-hmm.
Is she going to be able to compete in like 3 days?
I mean, we'll see.
I think so.
I think she'll be fine.
Wrap
it up. Like,
yeah,
I think she's going to go out next. I should have played I'm going to play that fan duel.
Yeah,
Fanta
I keep forgetting and then it's like too late.
I'm going to set a timer. So Fanta introduced me to FanDuel. I think that's the site, like fanduel.com, I believe. I'll send you the link to make sure. And basically you get like $100 and you have to buy your players. So they score every player at a certain amount of dollar value. And so they're going to be judging it on confessionals. And if they're evicted out, like they'll lose points. And like, so it's kind of like a pool where you go and then you put your picks in and then you can win like very minimal amounts of money, but you win a little bit of money as depending on how well you do and how many people won or did better with their picks than you did. And so what do I at? How many cents am I at? I'm beating you.
Are you?
Well, that from that one time that I did it.
Oh, yeah. I'm at like $16 in total.
That's pretty good.
So
free money.
I'd watch it if I were you.
So yeah, so you should do that with that. You should see who can make the most money. Now I gave you my secret that I'm gonna put. Well, no, I don't want Big T because she's probably gonna go out next week.
Yeah, I haven't picked Big T for any of them. I've been picking
she's not gonna have
pretty consistently and like Maddie and stuff like that. But it's tough. Like some people pick like really well and like those.
So can I join now even though it's late?
Okay, yeah.
Every week
you just download the app and then they're like, here's like your $100 salary. Like Bananas is worth $20. Wes is worth $21, and then you have to like pick whoever. So it's usually best to pick, like if it's a guy's elimination, then you're probably
pick more
guys. And like who you think is gonna fight next episode. And yeah, you can see like the standings and everything, and people who pick really well, like they're winning like $100 a week.
Wow.
I mean, I can't even figure out what the combination would be. Even if I got the answers, I'd be like, I would never pick that. You know what I mean? Like, I
know, yeah, that's the thing. Like, it could be so weird like that. It could be like, because the first person that you pick is the MVP, and that's the person who like is the multiplier for your points. So you want to pick that person as like who you think's gonna get in the tribunal, like, and or who you think is gonna like be down in purgatory and win. And then you'll win like a whole ton of points, and then that's when you'll win money. But yeah, sometimes it could be like really random. It could be like Jenna and like Big T and like just like a really weird mix of people that you wouldn't normally pick. So
I like this plan. I'm gonna get in on it.
Yeah, I can tell you about it.
It's free to play.
You know, I'm a great guesser. That's my best skill.
I mean, it's good to have. Good. So yeah, okay. Well, so come back next week and we'll see what our stats are.
Yeah.
We'll know the stats. Like you know them pretty much right after the episode. So we can we can see who makes the most money next week. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like it. So next we have the tribunal. So we can just kind of talk about it all together. So they end up choosing to speak to Bear, Corey, Jordan, and Kyle. I didn't really realize that Wes still had that big of a beef with Bear. Can you remind me what happened there?
Yeah, don't you remember last season? Wes got blindsided and thrown in against Bear, and then lost to Bear. And Bear had been chastising him the whole time. Like he hates Bear because it was Josh and Laurel that threw Wes in technically, but it was against Bear, who already he had beef with because he was annoying. And he just thought Bear was annoying because Bear is charming and funny, and he obviously doesn't like that.
And he's like every single like challenge or whatever. Like remember the last one that Bear won, and he was like, "That was so easy."
Yeah.
Wes was like, "Oh, like
yeah,
like he's such a poor winner."
It was a great moment of justice for Wes to be able to flip the blind side on him. Honestly, I think it was great because he got blindsided so hard. Like he had no idea he was going in last season.
Bear wasn't in part of that plan though, so just like the blind side it went to him, but I just didn't understand.
No, but he was part of that group. Like Laurel and Bear were working together. Bear knew about.
Oh yeah, they're making out.
Yeah, Bear knew about the plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lest we forget Laurel and Bear.
That was a brief. Did they really make out?
They were a thing,
but they weren't like really a thing.
No. They were a pool thing. They were a horny pool ting.
She loves a horny pool ting.
Horny pool season. That's what the next like season's gonna be like. Fuck Total Madness. It's gonna be like horny pool season.
Oh, yes.
Please give us a horny pool season.
They might do it though, because I feel like this might have been too polar opposite. That person, probably isn't coming back. That arranged it to have these bunkers, because like I don't think it's paying off really. Like I don't know. Maybe you guys think it's paying off the bunker, but I don't know. I kind of talked about it last week.
Yeah, I know we talked about it, but I kind of grow weary of the location. I think it's run its course for sure. And I think that they just need to do something so fresh for next season that doesn't have this kind of like bogged down darkness to it. And I think that what I've been thinking about is that because everybody has been in isolation for so long, that there's going to be a lot of people that are like just clamoring to like do a challenge.
Oh, for sure. Already, Jordan and Tori have talked about how they want to do it for the next few years because they have the time now to do it, to commit to it.
God.
Of course. And also though, with being in the bunker, I'm over it a little bit for sure as well, is that I feel that, okay, fine, like it makes this whole season's about the competitor and you're going in, you're getting your red skull. But I think that is tired. Like it's like, okay, like you can't be that like, I'm go that whole time, because you don't have the balance of like, oh my God, it's so fun. I want to be here. Like, I don't want to leave this place. Like, I think it's become too much work for some of the more casuals, which is fine that they want to maybe weed out some of these people. But if they have to go in and get their red skull, like, why not make the environment be polar opposite so they want to stay in the game as well? So the competitor, the people that aren't as competitive will have a competitive reason to want to stay. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's motivating for everybody. And so I think that it doesn't have a good balance to get people really amped to be there.
For sure. True. I think just in general, like the casting has been really interesting this season. And like, I've also been thinking like, it would be kind of fun to put like some more like drama stirs in there. Just because like I kind of feel like the drama is like falling flat this season.
Well,
nothing.
I think we don't like the drama that's happening.
And just people that I don't love that it's happening to, I think.
Yeah. I just find it doesn't really have any legs.
Well, like what kind of drama were you into?
What kind of drama was I into?
Like horny pool drama?
Yes. People's passion. That's what I want.
I mean, I don't know, guys. I'm fine with the bunker. I think it's a good theme, and I actually have no issue with it at all personally. I just like, I like the vibe. I agree. I hope they do a 180 for the next season and change it up. Maybe it'll be in an open field. Like, I don't know, but I hope it's brighter and different. But I like the bunker vibe because it does create this intensity of game, which I like for this season. It's the end of this trilogy moment. It's like, I don't know. I really do like the intensity of it. Do I think that every season needs to be this way? No.
Okay, that's what I'm feeling. I'm like, I do not want it to be.
I don't think it'll continue past this season.
Yeah.
Okay. And like, won't you be excited when like after the purge, we're like, we're going to Brett Maui?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be so excited when they're like, all right. Like, it's gonna be so good.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
that'll be nice.
Exactly. So. This is one of my eye rolls of the episode was when Josh was like, "Oh yeah, I totally thought that like I was gonna be like."
Yeah, I'm like, once again, dude, you're not a threat to Wes. He has no reason to throw you in. In fact, he probably wants you to have a red skull because he knows like you'll never beat him in the end. Like, get over yourself. Why do you think you're this relevant? Like,
he said that to Josh, like, to his face in tribunal. He's like, dude, no, I want you to be in the final. Like, I literally want and Josh is just out there like, because I was really sweating there. And everyone's like, dude, no one's looking at you.
Nobody. You're going to get to the end and you're not going to have a red skull and then you're not going to get to compete. That's what's going to fucking happen. Like, are you going to be happy with that, Josh? Come on. You have to go in at some point. Like, I don't understand people. It's really just, you have to go in at some point. What are you waiting for? Ugh.
Yeah, I was just like, Josh, yeah, you don't have any idea what game is going on here, and I think you're trying to make yourself relevant and make yourself have a storyline. And Wes is not like he's not even playing the same game. Like, they're not in the same like universe. Like, it's completely separate. And Josh just believes that they're on the same plan. Like, I'm just over him, and I'm over the end of this episode with like the little blurbs. But we'll get to that shortly. So when Wes talks to Jordan, he kind of basically says that they all kind of say that, hey, Jordan, you want to go in, right? And so Jordan, I think he was kind of pressured into saying that he wanted to go in.
Yeah, well, he was just saying, like, you know, I'm going to have to go in. And he never wants to show weakness.
Yeah.
Realistically, he's not going to be like, yeah, if it's something that I'm at a disadvantage at, don't put me in. Like, they're going to do that anyway. He already knows they're against them. Him saying, I don't want this, just is going to make them put him in even more. So
exactly.
I don't think there's really anything else he could say.
I said Wes and Johnny having an with Kyle.
Yeah.
Having an intervention.
I love that so much because it's true. It's like, dude, do something.
Harsh.
It's true, but in reality, they're all really close friends. Like, they all love Kyle, so it's like they're just chirping him. But it's true. Like, he really hasn't done anything, but that's what he likes to do. He likes to stay under the radar, now that he doesn't have someone to have drama with, he's, like, good to be under the drama. And, I mean, I'm curious to know when he thinks he's going to get his red skull, but what they need to do is throw Nelson in the moment it is any kind of puzzle or anything that isn't brute strength, and he has 1,000% sure of a failure. Like, literally, Kayla, Nani, anyone could beat him at a fucking puzzle. Like, he actually would never win. So that they just need to keep throwing him in. That's just a side note.
That would just make me feel so good.
Nelson, your challenge is to read this book. Audacity. You're eliminated.
Yeah, give him a fucking spelling challenge.
Oh my god, maybe they'll do, well, he will lose that one for sure, but trivia.
Oh god.
Elimination.
I can't wait for trivia.
It actually does shock me though how bad most of them are at trivia.
Oh, they're terrible, especially bananas. I love trivia.
Oh, trivia is my shit. Like, math, trivia, I'm so good at it. I know so much random useless shit.
I just like watching the challengers doing trivia because like the only people who are decent are like Wes and then like a random rookie or like someone with brain cells. But like Bananas is terrible at it. Like so many of the greats. Kara obviously is terrible at it. Like they can't answer like the simplest questions.
And Kara is terrible and she's annoying at it. Like, she can't just be terrible.
And she'll be like, I'm up high. I'm like, girl, you've been jumped out of a plane. Like, you've done so many things. Like, stop.
Well, we want to just talk about Kara a little bit. You want to just talk about the Reddit that you sent me, Miss Fanta?
Oh, yeah. So, this whole thing has come up again as to, like, Paulie failing psych evaluations for
I read into that.
Yeah, this challenge, and then she just did like this Instagram video about how like at the reunion everybody was like all coked out and that they quote jumped Paulie, which was like, yeah, okay. So yeah, that's like I was reading on Reddit that you know that like that, or I watched the videos and everything, and there's everyone, all the castmates were coked out, and they jumped Paulie and blah blah blah, all that stuff. Which was like.
And she claims that like they pushed him to get riled up. Yeah. And then he hit Josh, and so that pushed them to say that he wasn't okay to go on the challenge. But then Josh came back being like, because he commented on the video being like, this is delusional. Like, I protected myself when he tried to come at us. Like, he came up to them, and the people that were there, because there's a video, the people that were there is like CT is there and Theo. It's like, those are her friends. Like, CT is not going to be like coked out trying to fuck Paulie up. Like, he specifically wouldn't do that. And like, for her to make that kind of a like outlandish, like overarching statement, they're all coked out. Like, I'm sure some of them do coke, but like for you to say that about all of them is just so like, this is exactly why they don't like you. Like, why are you spreading things that you don't even know the accurate truth? Like,
that's a thing that was like really crazy, because there's also a video of Paulie that he like, I don't know, I guess he sent it to
everybody. Yeah.
He's like doing like this and like saying how he's gonna take everybody out and stuff.
Yes.
And, like, personally, if I was a cast member that had been doing the challenge for X amount of years, and this fucking loser comes up from Big Brother who's about yay high and is just like spewing off this vitriol and like starting to do like all of that stuff, I'd be like, yeah, like, producers, can you look at this, please? Like, this guy is out of his mind.
Yeah.
Like, none of us want to be doing this with this guy.
No, apparently that video, like of him doing the guns and stuff, is a large reason why he wasn't asked back, mixed with his behavior the night before the reunion, which is why Kara's saying it's all their fault. Like, she's like, so you can blame those people, but it's like, it's not their, it's his video.
Yeah, and even if it was their fault, like, everyone is thanking them, because having the both of you on a season is hot trash.
Exactly.
Like,
oh my God, I would not want any of that at all. And with what's his name, with CT leaving early, so because he kind of is the Takara whisperer a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
It's just frustrating, because it's like she feeds into this, and like she gets so like, oh, people are always going to be talking about me even when I'm not doing anything wrong. And it's like, what you're doing wrong is continuing on your public platform to talk about these people's personal lives and to feed into this drama. Like, they wouldn't keep pushing if you just were like, I'm going to be the bigger person and just like live my life. You're saying that you're doing that, but you're not, because you're constantly doing Insta Lives where you're acknowledging these people. Even today, so on Laurel's story, I'm assuming they have each other blocked, Laurel posted a clip of Fresh Meat 2, her first intro, and she made a joke saying like, Darrell, like at Darrell, guess you made the wrong choice for partner, ha ha ha. And he reposted it, and then Kara saw it because she follows Darrell, and she screenshotted it, posted on her story today, and made a comment saying like, yeah, haha, you should have picked Carly with like a trophy, because is that her name? Yeah, Carly, who won that season with Landon. And it's like, she even has to acknowledge this thing that Laurel wrote. Like, don't acknowledge it then. Like, stop feeding into it, and like, it's just making it worse for yourself. Like,
yeah. I read another interesting theory that somebody made that I had never thought about this, because everybody's been saying, okay, Kara's taking time off, so that will make her like better. Maybe she can get some perspective. Like, she's such an angry person, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's like, okay, well, it's clearly not working. So I commented in Reddit, I was like, just as long as she's like holed up with that little troll, like she's never gonna make that improvement. And then somebody else said, you know what? I'm starting to think that Kara's the common denominator. And then they referenced Abram, like her and Abram's relationship, like being such that they were fine, like, and that Abram was always like very overprotective and like very supportive of Kara. And it wasn't until she cheated on him with Thomas that all this stuff started to come out that Abram was like physically abusive, but that those claims weren't really substantiated and that like they never really were. So it was interesting, because I had never thought of it that way. I was never like, oh yeah, like maybe Abram isn't. I mean, who knows? But I was just like, that's very interesting, because no matter what, Kara is just, she's always like being so nasty.
Yeah, she is a little maybe like you know, putting the victim onto herself all the time. I feel like it's hard with Abram because Abram, I think, was always a little bit unhinged. And so it's really hard to say what actually happened. We never saw any abusive tendencies like previously on the show, at least. Who really knows what the truth is? But like, I agree with you that she's definitely like a common denominator. We all know Paulie has a lot of problems, but it's like, does she, I don't know. I think it's a combo. I think it's a combo platter of people that she's choosing to date, having issues. Sorry?
I'm going to say, well, you're going to attract what you are and what you, like, what you think you deserve. And so it's going to become reciprocal. And, you know, she thinks that she deserves to be in an open relationship with a guy who's an asshole because she doesn't really have a high esteem and high value for herself because she was bullied, get that. But she finds other people that probably haven't bullied themselves that now become the bullies so they can be bullied together, so they have power together and like just to fight back. And then they just keep on perpetuating that same cycle because they haven't dealt with their low self-esteem from when they're probably 5 years old. So she just needs to see a darn therapist and deal with whatever happened to her as a young 5-year-old girl. Like, just do it, Kara. Like, we don't want you to be feeling this way. Even though you now have become part of the problem, I know that this comes from a deep hurt. Like, you know, they're all of the people that she interacts with, like, usually they're really hurt people and they're really sad. But like sometimes you can't keep on excusing the behavior because like they went through something. So like fix it, or like I'm going to talk poorly about you. Like that's just what it is. Like
I totally agree with that. And I think the thing that's really been interesting in the last little while is that nobody has really been like attacking Kara in a malicious way. Every time something like this comes up, like with Nani, for example, she's just like, the last thing that she said was like, you know, like, I feel really bad. Like, she seems really sad and I hope she can take the time off. And like, that's the end of that. And then with this whole thing, Josh was like, first of all, I don't do coke. Like, anyone that knows me knows that I don't do drugs. This is what happened. I thought that the time off would like give her space, but I guess it didn't. Like, nobody is coming after her being like, everyone is just like, okay, wish you the best. Like, this sucks. I just want to say my piece, but like, wish you the best.
Yeah.
True, and I think it's because it's a psychological, like a psych issue, or like her. I think they did probably fail the psych test because like they are coming unhinged, as we've been describing them as, for absolutely nothing. They go crazy. Now, just to lighten up the mood for a moment, do you think that Paulie is taller or shorter than Paul?
Who's Paul?
From Big Brother.
Well, I have met Paul in real life.
That's why I'm kind of at Fanta.
Oh, okay.
So can you just describe to Michelle how tall Paul is?
He's got a lot of hair height. So that can
we're talking about Paul, like.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realize which the one who I hate, who got second place twice. Yeah. I think Paulie's taller by like an inch.
I think Paulie's taller than Paul because I'm 5'7" and Paul is shorter than I. Because I remember like.
That makes so much sense. He has such short man syndrome. Oh man! Wow. Yeah, Paulie's probably at least 5'7" or 8. Like he's probably shorter than me, but like.
No, but Panda's saying that. Oh, Paulie. Yes, Paulie's probably at 5'7", and Paul's like 5'6.25".
From what my recollection that night, he was.
I'm gonna look up these facts for next week because I need to know.
Love
that.
it.
They always call him the Keebler elf, and I think it's so funny because he looks like a Keebler elf.
Yeah. I think that's why he does the hair, just to give him a little bit.
So we're still kind of at the tribunal in our little aside that we had here. And the last person that was kind of talking was Corey. And I actually thought that his pitch was quite well phrased. And
I was impressed.
I didn't think they were going to go for it, but I was impressed by, he thought about what he was going to say and he put the words together in a way that was, I thought was smart. What do you think?
I agree.
Remember?
I No, I agree. I think Corey's been playing an interesting game, and I think that like a smart game, despite the fact that he's coupled with freaking Nelson. But yeah, I thought it was great, and I like everything that Corey's been doing. I'm like, okay, yeah,
True.
A lot of podcasts are starting to stan him, being like, yeah, like I think like being a dad is good on Corey. Looks good on Corey, and I'm just like,
well, compared to how idiotic he was, I am so impressed by him. Now, that's just on the standard of people. Like, I mean, he's not great, but like he looks like an angel compared to Nelson, and he's actually being smart. I'm so impressed. I think he's an idiot when it comes to challenges, and maybe some life choices, but in the challenge so far, I have nothing to hate on, and that says a lot for me because I'm normally a Corey hater, and I'm really not this season.
I agree. I'm not one either.
For sure.
And
It's still, I still hate the fact that he's with Taylor, but that's not.
I mean, yeah, what can we do about that?
It was really bad though. You need to watch that season when Alicia comes to X on the beach and Taylor spits on her from over the balcony. It's so could you ever be with a partner that spat on your ex-girlfriend who you were in love with, that like hung out with your child? Like, you would still want a family with someone that spat on your ex? I don't know. It's just such poor taste.
Especially in this day and age, you can't be spitting.
It's just not
true.
Worse, even like I don't know. I totally. That when she did that, it's just so gross to me that like I can't forgive her for that, or him, either of them for that. But I do agree that he is winning me over a lot this year, this season comparatively. And the fact that though when Wes was like, or no, it was Johnny, kind of rebutted, was like, well, you've been after me for every other season that I've been in, so yes, I understand what you're saying right now, and I would love to believe that, but you know, history shows that that's not the way things go. But I think they appreciated him making an effort that was respectable.
Yeah,
sure.
And I thought his response was logical, you know, but he had to try.
For sure. Yeah.
So it was one of the challenge classics. Pole wrestling is going to be the purgatory event. And I felt bad because like, I know that Jordan, especially you'll see at the end of the episode, like he is someone that's overcoming all the time. And I know that some of his anger comes from always having to like fight for himself and to not seem inferior just because of his disability, and not to allow his disability to become a disability. But you know that he can't grip things. And like, I was like, I really just didn't want him to be thrown in like that.
It was so cruel of them to do that, but it was the only way to make sure that he would go home. But like it, and again, that's the way the challenge is. What I mean, like about like, this is what it is. People have huge disadvantages sometimes, and it's just, you have to do it. You know, he's won a tug of war before, he's won a thing where he had to do a hammer, but this is different. It's about a grip. And it's a grip with someone who's literally 5 times the size of you, width and height. Like it was really sad to see it go down, but he gave it all he had. So I still always respect him for that. And to get his speech at the end and like that emotion we've never seen from him. So that was such a great like avenue for them to take with Jordan, to be like, he has a heart, you know, he cares, you know, and like, it was just, yeah, I really, really liked that.
Yeah. And I mean, we knew that Fessy was going to come out on top in this particular circumstance, especially obviously with Jordan only really having full use of one hand. And I guess like I was trying to compare it to the Rogan and Jay situation, like how they were kind of, because like Fessy's so much bigger and it wasn't matched up. But I guess like, why is it that I didn't feel it was so bad?
Very different. If Jordan had been against Fessy in the thing that Jay and Rogan did, he could have won because he could sneak around. There's more maneuvers he could do. With a pole wrestler, you're both holding the same fucking piece of metal. Like, you're already this close to each other. You have to start in a certain grip. He literally 50% gone, plus the height difference. Like, with Jay and him, it's like Jay could have he just had to play 10 times smarter. It's like Derek has beat when Derek beat what's his name, Cyrus, in that old school one with the battle where they were fucking fighting each other. It was kind of a pole wrestle thing as well. I mean, he has 2 hands, so it's, again, like the small big thing. Like, I think it's not a big thing. It's the disability that made it.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Because like when you're doing that, as soon as you have one hand off, you're done.
Oh, yeah,
so like he was already done to begin with. And I fully believed, I said to myself after, I was like, if Jordan had 2 hands, he would have won that no problem.
I think so too. He kept on for a bit, even with one hand, and being so tiny. Like he was, you know.
No problem. And that's the thing, like that's the thing that is so heartbreaking, but it's like everybody knew. Like if it wasn't that challenge, like those guys they would lose the final to Jordan for sure.
Yeah, if it had been so many of the other things, he would have at least had a way more of a chance. It was really just watching, watching the fate of what we knew was going to go down anyway.
Taking a dog out to pasture.
Yeah.
Do you think that Fess is going to be being thrown in to take other people out? No. You think Fessy's going to run it?
No. I think so. I think at this point, he's too much of a risk for any of them to want to go up against. Like, I think the guys would rather even go against Rogan or, like, Nelson again or any of the other guys. Swaggy obviously hasn't even been in. He's smaller, even though probably smart. I just think that, like, Fessy is just too big of a thing, like, to be like, oh, I'm going to have to go in against him. Like, for Bananas or West, like, it's too much of a risk. Like, I really think he's going to be in the final, and they're just going to have to hope that, like, his lack of experience will hinder him, or maybe endurance or something, because we don't know how his endurance is.
Well, we know he's pretty good from the first challenge.
I think he's
right.
He's got pretty good endurance, but
no, there's always like some what if factors in the final.
Again, I hate to throw this in again, but the bull testicles, that could always be a thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Plugs that could bring
needles, like cold water. I mean, they did cold water, but like I don't think Fessy has it in the bag at all to win the whole thing, but I think that he will. I think he will make it probably to the final, and I'm interested to see how he does. I really am.
Me too.
I mean, the final is a different beast than these these mini challenges for sure, and so I 100% agree with like the fact that the lack of experience is going to come into play. Yes, I totally think so.
Definitely.
Totally. Now, were you like me and hoping and praying that they were going to throw in Corey against Nelson?
Yes.
I wrote down, I was like, is this the epic one? Oh, no, it's not the epic one.
TJ's not going to be excited about that. I guarantee you, as I said from day one, it's Wes and Bananas. It's going to be Wes and Bananas. I don't know how they're going to have to go against each other, but they are, and that's what's going to happen. I just, like, quote me on it now. I swear. It's the only explanation. It's the only explanation. For some twist of fate, they have to verse each other because it's their only chance to get one, or maybe Bananas realizes that Wes has other side deal. Who knows? But something's going to happen. You know.
You just want something so badly.
I know.
I'm like, please put in Corey, not Bear. I mean, I don't care about Bear that much, but like I wanted Corey in there against Nelson way more than I wanted Bear to go in there against
1,000%. I mean, I'm fine with Bear being in the house. I was happy he was gone just for the fact that I'm like, now Kayla, you get to sit with this
yourself
and just deal. But I mean, it would have been better for me because Nelson would have had maybe less fire going against his friend too. So that would have been more interesting to me. To like, maybe Corey could have actually beat him.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like I mean, Bear did this to himself because he has been way too comfortable. And like, even before this, like when he went into Tribunal and he was like, you guys. And it's like, dude, get your head in the game. Like, you've just been like chasing girls around this entire time. Like, if you really want to be here, then you have to really fight. Cause you could just, the glazed look that I was talking about had that. He was checked out. As soon as he started, I was like, you have no chance.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I think so that because he was like joking around with Wes and Bananas, I think that he thought that they were more on his side than they actually were in the end. So I think he got duped by the game, and he let his guard down, especially because he was just, his head was in Kayla, basically. Did you see the Holy Trinity consoling her? I was like, when did this happen? When is it a bad thing that she's cheating on her boyfriend with this guy and you were telling her not to do that? And now you guys, it's okay, Bear's great. Like, he'll come back out. Don't worry. Like, when did that happen?
I think they just, time probably moves really fast in bunker land, right? So it's like within a week or two that they've been hooking up, it's like that's a thing now. And they're probably all just supporting the friend. They're like, you know what, at this point you're obviously not going to be with your current partner. That's going to end. So having Bear gives you some sanity. Great, Yeah,
and I guess maybe they also just don't take her relationship with Mikey seriously. I think that's also a thing.
Well, I mean, at that point now, they probably stopped.
Well, she'd been living with him and was with him for 3 years.
Wild.
Yeah, they were literally living together when she went on the challenge. So it was messy situation.
I still can't wrap my head around that. Just literally walking through the door and just your partner, oh my God, I miss you so much.
The whole time.
I'm sure what happened is on her way back from whenever she leaves this season, she probably went immediately to London and visited Bear right away. Maybe maybe she did that and then sent him, contacted Mikey to let him know I moved.
Hey Mikey, just so you know, I'm not with Bear anymore, but now I'm with another guy from the UK, Sam Bird.
I think that when she I think that when she left, she probably just went right to Bear maybe right away instead of going home, or she went to stay with friends, or who knows, maybe she did something, was hey, we're done, so that she wouldn't have to actually deal with it. Maybe she did deal with it, who really knows.
And I think that's when all those text messages were going back and forth, or comments on posts and stuff like that, when he was like, sorry, are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I think I'm still your boyfriend right now. Yeah, not a good look, Kayla, but whatever. So Bear goes down there. You're saying that he has the glazed look for sure, and I agree that he really wasn't. He wasn't coming out of there, not against Nelson, who's he has to prove that he's such a big tough guy and he's so good and he's beast mode garbage. Anyways, but Nelson did end up beating Bear, and I was screaming at my computer, and I was like, please, Bear, please, Bear. I just please, Bear, please, and it wasn't working. It wasn't helping.
It didn't help.
No.
Chantele.
No. Bear lost.
I was fine with that. And it's always entertaining to have Bear too, so it's kind of.
Yes,
and now we have to deal with Nelson again. And now we have to deal with Nelson, who thinks he's great. Someone take him away. Take him out. Goodbye. I'm sick of looking at him.
Maybe Bear should get into a fight with Nelson, so that they get into a scrap and they both get removed from the game, but Bear's already done.
That'd be great.
Do something for us, Bear. Come on.
You're thinking of some bananas type loopholes there, Chantele.
But so the people that have skulls, only one of them I really care for. So the skull holders at this point now are Nelson, Jenna, Fessy,
Rogan,
Dee,
Jenny.
and Jenny.
I know, I hate it. Not a good group, but you know what? It's there's so much more game to be played, okay? Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. People with skulls,
18, right?
What?
We're gonna go to episode 18, right? We're almost at the halfway point only, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, look at how many players there still are. There's so many players. Yeah, they're gonna have a purge.
There's a purge coming.
Yeah, but
still at least 8 more episodes, I'd have to say, right?
I've read not actual spoilers, but I've read hints that at some point, at least 2, I won't say who, but at least 2 of the people who have skulls are going back into an elimination.
Well, it looks like that's going to be Jenny and Dee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then also probably Nelson. I think it'll depend.
Rogan back in there. Who cares about Rogan? I'd throw him back in there.
I mean, I would, but
I would for sure too. Just want to wipe the smug look off of his Chippendale face.
Yeah, I know. But like, I love that he's getting less confessionals now, though. I wonder if it's because of like the whole kind of bad sportsmanship thing. Like he's getting like none. Oh,
yeah, but no, he had like maybe one or two, but I think he's also just not really relevant to this week's storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else didn't get any confessionals this week, or like was not relevant at all? Swag and Bailey, not really at all until the end. So, what the bleep is going?
That was such an epic moment.
Nelson, first off, is calling out Kyle for like starting that whole thing. Like, anyways, he's directing his anger in the wrong direction. Like, he should be pointing at himself for the fact that he didn't play the game very well. And Kyle is like, hey, you made that same promise to me and started us and knew that it was going to get hyped up. Anyways, but friggin' Josh, like, now he's coming for Swaggy because Swaggy knew about the plan to put in Bear. Like, who is Josh to now be leading the charge against Swaggy?
I thought what I thought was interesting about it, though, think about it from like a Big Brother perspective, is like Swaggy fucked up because Swaggy's been really smart about keeping his thing with Wes and the DL, and for Swaggy to just casually be like, oh yeah, and he tried to play it off like, oh, everybody knew. Like, come on, man, like, don't worry, like, everyone knew obviously Bear was going in, because he assumed, because Wes had been talking to him about it, and then once Josh was like, no, like, who knew? Then Josh immediately knew, okay, obviously Swaggy and Bailey are working with Wes, and now he's put those dots together, and now that he knows that, I mean, what can Josh really do? I don't think he can actually do much, but for him to inform the others and that group of people who aren't with Wes, that could flip up against Swaggy now, because that's like a team. He's a teammate for Wes, and he just made that so obvious. He'd been so sneaky until now, so that was a mistake on Swaggy's part, I think.
I loved that Josh put it together. Shocking, but I loved that he put it together, because like I wouldn't have been able to go like, oh, actually I probably would have, but but I love that he put it together, and I hope that this starts something. Yeah,
like, I want to see Fessy. I want to see Swaggy go in. Like, go. I know that he's good, and I actually have respect for him in the game. But like, I want to see you're a rookie. Go into elimination, try to get your thing. Bailey, throw Bailey in. Like, let's let her freak out.
You want to see it,
though. That scene with
you want to see it. Even
again,
people, you want to see them go in. Like, even if you think about Cam's season, you loved her, but you also, like, her first season, you loved her, but you also loved watching her go in.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
So Josh was talking to who? Casey and Fessy? Was it Team Big Brother?
And Jenny was there too.
Jenny. Yeah, there was a group of them. Nani, I think, was there too. No, maybe she wasn't. I forget who was there, but anyway.
They were on the other side of the bridge.
Well, I feel like this is brewing whatever happens with. Okay, this is, oh my God. So this is what must happen. So when Bailey comes screaming at Casey, so Casey must get into the tribunal.
And vote
maybe
in.
With Josh. It's a women's elimination next week. And maybe the tribunal is either calling her in or like maybe she voted in or something. No,
maybe she's voted, or maybe she gets called as one of the options and is freaking out, and maybe she gets voted in and Casey's like, maybe I'll go against her if she's in the tribunal, like if Casey's in the tribunal. Either way, I'm about it. Let's have a Bailey versus Casey elim.
Let's do it.
Ooh. Hey. I'd be very excited about seeing that elimination.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. I think it'd be strong.
Because I know that Casey was like, what was her little slogan? Go team on Big Brother. Remember, she was like, let's go. Okay, let's go. And so she would always been say that. So let's go, Casey. Let's see what you're made of. I want to see what she's made of. I want to see how she competes in the challenge. Because like, we don't even really see what she does in the actual like elimination, because it's always been group challenges. So we can't see her like compete. Like, I want to see her swinging on something. I want to see her climbing something. I want to see her like, I don't know, carrying tires and fucking doing push-ups. Like, I don't know, but like, I want to see her do stuff.
For sure.
I don't know how Bailey's going to do. I know she's smart, but I don't know how she's going to do in elimination. But I'm about seeing it. I'm about it.
Me too.
So do you have anything else left to share? Did we get to everything? Probably.
I think we did.
Like an hour and 45 minutes later. If you guys made it to this part, like, we love you, and we're like so grateful.
Then you have the same passion that we have. That's
We do.
the
We're
reality.
obsessed. We love it.
Listen
We
to hours and hours and hours worth of challenge podcasts a week, and it just doesn't matter. There's never enough.
Never enough.
Exactly. I do listen to so many hours of the challenge. I was like, I hadn't watched yesterday's yet. I just watched it right before we filmed this. And I was like, I wanted to listen to podcasts, and I was like, I haven't watched it yet. Damn it. Like, I need to watch it first and take my notes, and then I can go listen to these things. But I haven't listened to anything yet. So I'm excited. I have so much content. Okay, so that's all we got, guys, tonight. Make sure you guys subscribe down below. If you want to find me on Instagram, find me at ChanFriendFran or at Reality Realnesss with 3 S's. We have Michelle. What's your handle?
It's Mish Nash with 3 H's. Woo!
And we have Fanta.
At Fanta Sesay, Twitter and Instagram. Come say it.
Perfect. We'll see you guys all next week. I'm so excited, though. I really want to see this Bailey and Casey go
Let's
at
get it. Yes.
Ciao, guys.